Hi friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and my friend Leon and I are here today to talk to you about a couple books that are all written by the same author, and we're really excited to talk about them. So the reason why we're really excited is because I absolutely love this author. She's one of my favorite young adult authors that's writing right now, and she just came out with a brand new book, so I thought this would be a great time to not only talk about the new book, but also her two older books as well. So the author is Margaret Rogerson, and her first book is called An Enchantment of Ravens. Now, I don't know if the same artist has worked on all the covers for her books, but I will say that they are all drop dead gorgeous. So I love this cover. It's beautiful. This is her first book. Another thing that's really cool about her books is, aside from the last one, which may be getting a sequel, the other two books are all standalones, so you don't have to worry about waiting for more books in a series to come out. They're not a duology, they're not parts of series, they're just standalone stories. So if you're just looking for something really great to settle down with and you don't really want to make the commitment to something a little bit longer, these books are fantastic. So this book is about a young woman named Isabel who is just really talented at painting portraits, and her clients that she paints happen to be fairies, the fair folk, because in this realm, the fair folk cannot create things that are crafts on their own without them being destroyed. So if they try to bake, it turns to dust, stuff like that. So they're obsessed with the crafts of humans, and Isabel's painting is no exception to that. So she paints all these portraits. Well, she finally gets a commission to paint a royal portrait for a prince named Rook, and she makes a big mistake. And she manages to capture this sorrowful nature in his eyes, which puts his position kind of in a weak spot, right? So he is furious. He kidnaps her and takes her into the fair folk world to stand trial for her crimes. But she finds when they get there that there's something very wrong in this world, and she might be one of the only ones that can help Rook to set it right. So this book, I absolutely loved it. It's really not that long. Like I said, this is a fairly short book, so it's not a big commitment. And like I said, it is also just a standalone. Beautiful fantasy story. Absolutely love this. This was her first book that she wrote. The second book that she wrote is actually a favorite YA book of mine. I absolutely adore this book. Came out last year, or maybe the year before. With COVID times, it's hard to remember. Sorcery of Thorns. Another amazing cover. Look at that cover with that girl holding the sword, just so confident. So I love this book primarily because it is a book that has libraries in it and books, magical books, so of course I'm going to love it. I also really like it because it's another enemies to lovers sort of romance between the characters, which I really love that trope. So this is about a young woman named Elizabeth who works in these big magical libraries, and basically the libraries are housing these grimoires, these magical books that are super dangerous. So it's the librarians' jobs to keep these books in line, make sure that they don't get out of control, and they're used by the sorcerers, and the sorcerers are basically evil, or at least that's what Elizabeth thinks. She thinks they're all just horrible creatures, terrible people. So one night, one of the most dangerous grimoires in the whole library where she works gets loose. And in her attempt to stop it, she gets implicated in the book's... she gets in trouble for it, basically, saying that she was implicated in letting it free. So she has to team up with this sorcerer named Nathan, and they go on this quest to find out what is actually going on. Like I said, I really love the relationship between the two characters. It's so fantastic. A sorcerer and a librarian apprentice. What is not to love? Especially with magical books and some demon characters in there as well. This book is phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. And this is actually the book I read first of hers that got me really turned on to her writing. So, this book is so good. Highly, highly recommend it. So, because I read those two books and loved her so much, I was really, really, really anticipating her newest book, which just came out last month, called Vespertine. Look at that cover. Another amazing cover. Now, the thing that is really, really cool about this book is that the world building in this is so unique. So basically, depending on how a person dies, there determines what kind of spirit or like ghost that it can become. So for example, I'm going to refer to the little glossary in the back that talks about it. So if you died by famine, a soul that died by famine, you would turn into a gaunt. If you were if you were a person that died by fever, you'd be a feverling. If you were died by pestilence, you'd be a plague specter. If you were lost to violence, then you could become either a fury or a penitent, depending on the type of death. So there's all these different orders of ghosts in this story. So like people that died by like famine and blight and things like that are a little bit less terrifying than those that were killed by murder. So the very highest level, the most dangerous spirits are called revenants, and there's only been 7 of them because they are just so powerful they can tear the world apart. And basically, they have to be bound to these relics, these items, and these very, very strong, very rare type of people can control them through these relics. So here we come to our main character, whose name is Artemisia, and she is a living with this order of nuns who prepares bodies after they've been dead. Like she cleans them, does the prayers and stuff so the spirits can pass on before they turn into any of these terrifying creatures. So when her abbey is attacked, she discovers that she actually accidentally becomes bound to this revenant that is really, really powerful. And she is the only one that can control it to help save the abbey, but not only that, but save the city and the world. And that kind of person that can control a revenant is called a Vespertine, which is what the title of the book is. So this book is really unique. I was super excited about it. I really loved it a lot. And like I said, it's a very good standalone story. I heard that it might have a sequel somewhere down the line, but that may or may not be the case. But even if it isn't, it's a really good, the ending is fantastic and closes everything really nicely, and doesn't really need a sequel. If there is one, that's going to be great, but if not, it's fine too. So highly recommend this if you like ghosts and spooky stories, and also another story of just a really strong-willed female character. Love this book. It's so, so good. Highly recommend it. Brand new from Margaret Rogerson. Well, that's what we've got for you guys today. I hope that these books sound really exciting and that this author sounds really cool if you haven't read her before, or if you have read her and you're just also wanting to try out her new book. All of them are available at the Farmington Community Library, so please feel free to put them on hold. You can pick them up, and you'll have to let me know what you think of them. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and have a great rest of the day.